Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Zity Radar. My name is Domantas Čiuldė, tech startups co-founder and product owner, curious on how technology will shape our near future. Zity Radar is a bi-weekly series of online events with the purpose to share best practice on how startups can master their growth in a smart and effective way. This time on episode 6 of the Radar is cybersecurity, the importance of being prepared for the unknown. We have as a guest Domantas Čiuldė, CEO and co-founder of iDenfy. Domantas will briefly cover 5 most important things about how to stay safe from cyber attacks and data breaches. In half an hour Blitz interview, we will cover Keynote Importance of Cybersecurity. Q&A session will follow shortly, so please leave your questions in comment section. We will come back to those later on. And finally, we will continue our discussion and networking on Discord. I would encourage you to visit Zity Radar community on Discord to meet peer experts, startup founders, and other interesting growing community members. During the keynote, you will learn importance of cybersecurity, defining risks, managing risks, what controls should be applied, best practices and techniques. Without further ado, help me in welcoming Domantas, cybersecurity and fraud prevention expert. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Romualdas, and hello everyone. Thank you for having me today. It's a big pleasure to be here. So as Romualdas presented, my name is Domantas Čiuldė. I'm CEO and co-founder of company iDenfy. So at iDenfy, our main activity is identity verification, fraud prevention, and anti-money laundering compliance services. So we are processing really sensitive data like identity documents, biometric data, and extra. So the cybersecurity is the number one in our company. So it's the top thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Domantas, most of your professional career you spent in the cybersecurity-related industry. You even started before fraud and GDPR regulations were put in place. So how did you decide this business niche is interesting for you?
Yeah, actually, the interest comes was still when it was not GDPR in place. So okay. Actually my passion was from childhood about the cybersecurity and fraud prevention. So this is this project even I started from 2015. So yeah.
Okay, so we're happy to hear more about your experience, and the floor is yours.
Please. Okay, thank you, Romualdas. So again, thank you very much for having me here today, and thank you very much for everyone who connected to today's session. Let's move forward. I would like to start from the importance of a cybersecurity. So the main thing is to understand that cybersecurity is important. It should understand not only employees, but actually it should start from the top management. So chief officers, founders should understand how important is cybersecurity. Today I have here a few metrics. One is that startups, actually more than 50% of startups experience cyber incidents. And more than 60% of the startups go out of a business after the 6 months. So the reality is that cyber incident can actually kill your business, kill your startup. And if I am working as marketing manager in a company and I say for everyone, let's invest to new computers, let's invest to security. So it won't work. But so the first thing that we business owners should understand how important is cybersecurity. And to make it more with more colors, I have a short story about Distribute IT. So Distribute IT was a startup company. on 2011, as I remember. So Distribute IT had great growth metrics. We had 30,000 hosting clients. We had 3,000 active resellers. We owned more than 10% of the Australian domain names market. And because of cyber incident, actually the business was destroyed over the night in the few hours. So 9 years of hard work of business owners, of founders, of employees was destroyed just in a few hours. So it is one good example from over thousands of examples how can business be destroyed just in a few hours, yes, of a cyber incident. Most of us think that market conditions, competition can kill our business. Yeah, but the reality is that cybersecurity can do that very well. Another important thing is to understand what is the main damage, what can kill our business. Yes. So, for example, DDoS attack can interrupt our business, but it will not make our business out of a game, for a long time. We can be DDoSed for example, for 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks. Anyway, we can get up and continue our work. It won't kill our business. For example, damage of reputation. If hackers hacked our website and we show it for our customers that we are not looking seriously to the cybersecurity, that can impact our business, yes, but it won't kill our business as well. But data breach is the main thing that actually can really kill our business, because of if the data breach happens in our startup, so we will see the business interruption, we will have a big reputation damage, customers won't trust us anymore, so probably we will terminate the contracts with us. And even on the top of that, we can get the fines from the government and we can be closed really quickly. The good point is to understand from where data breach, what is the main source, how the data breach happens. Many people think that there is a technical side, and we must ensure that we are safe from technical side. So we're saying let's invest to the servers, security, let's invest to good IT people. That is totally fine. But the main thing is to understand that actually the real danger is in humans, in ourselves. And from 100 times, 95 times of data breach, the guilty is human error, and only 5 times is technical things. So yeah, as I said, the main risk are ourselves, employees, founders, owners of a business. So we need to find the things, firstly, how to fix these issues with human resources. And today I would like to talk a little bit about technical side, but I think it's not so important as to talk about these things, how to manage risks which come from employees, from ourselves. So yeah, so I have few good practice from where everyone can start. So for example, define risks at your company. So it's very good practice. Just take a couple of hours before your colleagues, sit down and think what your business are facing risks. So because every business has their own risks. Here is just an example. But just sit down, focus on that, take a few hours and list all the risks which your business are facing. List not all the risks, not all from cybersecurity side, but try to list also from the business side what risks are facing your business, let's say from the sales side and extra. So yeah, so we can run through this example. So for example, the risk if your computer was stolen. Yeah, so you have stored some sensitive data in your computer, so you can experience the data breach. All right. Fire in the office. You are storing logins to your server. You're storing contracts, so the fire can destroy your logins, contracts. So it could be the risk. Yeah. Employee reveals sensitive information. As I mentioned it before, it is good point not only list the risks about the cybersecurity, but also to list the risk about the business from the business side. So, for example, the employee reveals sensitive information, so it could impact your business in negative side. Yeah, the computer was infected with malware, so it could drive to data breach. Yes, DDoS attack interrupted your service for a few days, so you can make you thousands of euros minus. Yeah, and extra. So every company has their own risks, and you just need to find the risks. And very important point to understand what will be if that risk will happen. Yes. Why it is important to understand? Because when you can prioritize which risk is more important. Yes. For example, fire in the office. If you are keeping here only TV stations or only tables, few tables, and if everything will be gone, it will not impact your business, and this risk you can just strike off and leave it. So yeah. Moving forward, so once you have listed all the risks and listed the damage, what damages which that risk will make, you can sit down with your colleagues and to find the solutions and how to eliminate that risks. So backing up to my example, for example, computer theft. Yeah. So to avoid data breach, if your computer was stolen, you can encrypt the computer hard drives. Yeah. Or don't store any sensitive information in computer, store in the cloud drive. Fire in the office, install fire detectors or store information in the cloud. Employee reveal sensitive information. All right, so sign the NDA with all employees. Malware infected your computer. This is a good point actually to understand that maybe for one risk it will not be enough one control. Okay, so you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 controls. So, for example, malware infected your computer. So, to avoid this risk, you can to eliminate this risk, you can install antivirus. Yeah, but there is plenty new viruses every day. So maybe it will not be enough. So you make one more control, for example, anti-phishing training for your employees. Yeah, to recognize suspicious emails, to recognize suspicious files, and extra. DDoS attack, take it out you from the business for a few days. Yeah, so if it is really big risk for you, you can install DDoS mitigation solution, for example, Cloudflare. Right. So another thing, what I would like to talk today is also a good practice, good method to implement controls. Try to list all the information assets and access you have. For example, sometimes we think that we don't have assets or access. Yeah, we have computer, we have email, but when you just sit down and focus on that, you will see that you have very much access and assets. For example, office keys to the office is actually the asset which could make the problem for you. Yeah, if you lost the keys and someone get to your office, so just list all of them and assign the assets main asset owner. Main asset owner can assign assets to the employees and save the record. Why is important? I will talk in another slide, but just imagine that, for example, we have employee Peter, yeah, and so the main asset owner grades for the Peter email access, give the computer, give the login to server. So we collect all this information and put somewhere safely to the future to have the list what the Peter access and assets has. Yeah. Yeah, so another good controls is policies and procedures. very recommended thing to have to control the employees in the company. So here is the short example of employment termination procedure. So also such things you have to think about all your processes, all your procedures. So you have just sit down and write everything how it should be done. Yes. So the procedure has 1, 2, 3, 5 steps, and it should be every time should be that steps should be the same, and you should have the records for that. Yeah. So here, for example, employment termination. So we are terminating employment with employee Peter. So what we do, so we know that we have to instruct main asset to remove the access and assets from Peter. Yeah. So as here we saved all the records, what Peter access and assets is owning. So it's really a really good point. Yeah. And for example, just to understand why it is important, for example, if you give the assets, computer, email to Peter, that's totally fine. Yeah, but we forgot that we have given access to the of office keys to the Peter. And after we terminate employment and Peter, decide to come back to our office and because he has the keys, he, for example, stole the sensitive information or make the data breach of logins from the server. Yeah. And yeah, so such things, such procedures, such records save us from such situations. Yes. So it's really important, really good practice to have a policies and procedures in your company to avoid data breaches. All right, so after the employee management, I would like to add a little bit about technical side. So just a good practice. There is 1,000,000 good practice, but let's talk a few of them because we don't have time today. So for example, from the server side, so you can make the auto backups, yeah, regularly make backups, for example, daily, weekly, because once something bad happens, you can make a recovery easily and fast. Yes, use vulnerability scanning. So scan your servers daily or weekly, and because you will know what vulnerability your service has before it will know the bad person. Such servers cost around 50 euros per month. You can easily find on internet. Change the file ports and software version. It's a really good point to change, for example, because when you use the scanner, when you scan your server, you can find out what the software is used in your server, and you can search for that software for exploits of that software and use it on your server. So once you change the software versions, it is really good point to avoid this. Use IP whitelisting and virtual private networks to connect into the server. List the IP from which is it possible to connect to the server, and use VPN to have that IP with you all the time. Yeah. Use two-step authentication to log into server. Use SSH keys and use endpoint antivirus to ensure that your server don't has viruses. From computer side, only use work computer for work. Don't use computers to download the torrents to play the games. Yes. Equip every computer with antivirus. Use hard disk encryption. Because if you lost your computer, it will not be a big deal because all the information will be encrypted in computer. Don't store sensitive information in computer. Better store in the cloud, ensure that the cloud will be encrypted, and use two-step authentication to access the information. Use auto-lock after a few minutes. For example, it's really good practice and really easily configurable with a computer. Just set the screensaver with a password. And for example, you are sitting in the restaurant, so just after you leave your computer, walk into the toilet, and forget to log out, so the computer will lock after a few minutes of inactivity. Use device management system. So you can have one system, centralized system, and control all the computers remotely. For example, if someone steal your computer, you can wipe it, erase it remotely. Use password manager. It's good, very good thing. For example, you have one password manager, one password to log into your Google account, and with Chrome, for example, you can have thousands of passwords with other platforms, and every password can be differently. So you need to remember one password, yeah, and that one password you can change, let's say, many times in 1 year, yeah, and you just need to remember one password, and you can have thousands of passwords. Employees, as we talked before, assign assets and keep records, assign responsibilities. Let know the employee that if he leave the computer without not logged off, so that could drive him a fine. Yeah, prepare a training to recognize malicious sites, emails, files. Use policies and procedures. That is very important. Have a plan before something happens. It's very good point to have a business continuity plan to, because you know, when something bad happens, we are in shock mode and we cannot think strategically. So when we prepare for everything, so we can know that we have to do 1, 2, 3, 5, and that is why to have a continuity plan is very important and very good. From supplier side, even you can be a very, very secure. You can do everything from your side. But for example, if you host your server with a supplier which doesn't care cybersecurity, so the supplier can be hacked, and your data can be stolen and breached online. Yes, and so even at the last step, you will be that bad person who lost the personal data of your customers. So look suppliers who has the security certifications, for example, ISO 27001. Make sure that suppliers are using enough safeguards. For example, many suppliers are listing the safeguards which we are using in their website. But if you can find it, just contact them, ask them what safeguards you're using, check them. Is it enough? That safeguards are enough or not? And make the regular audits of your suppliers. Yes, it is. We have very, very little time, so we, of course, such topic is very wide. There is a lot of best practice, but I just wanted to run today from the main part about main topics. And yeah, so thank you very much for your attention. My name is Domantas Čiuldė. You can contact me if you have any questions through the email or LinkedIn. And yeah, so thank you. Romualdas, can you take off?
Thanks, Domantas, for the presentation. And you really covered some, just the tip of the iceberg of the cybersecurity. And I'm interested in numbers. You mentioned that 60% of startups go out of business in half a year. Do these numbers represent failing startups due to cybersecurity only?
These numbers actually, yes. As I listed, 50% startups actually experience the cyber incidents. And after that amount of startups who experience that cyber incidents, actually they go out of a business. So 60%, yeah. So that is the calculations, let's say, what the cyber incidents make for the startups and why we go out of a business. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a huge number, and I suppose security setup is a must before starting operating in a company.
I could say that actually, yeah. As I mentioned it in the presentation, many of us thinks about marketing, market situation, about competition, that these things can kill us. But actually, it's really not a lot of people think that cyber incidents can kill their company. So we see on these days many examples, big companies, and yeah. So that is really important thing, I think.
Okay, and cybersecurity is really kind of hard to understand topic. I thought that it's more related like to technology and cyber things only, but you mentioned the infrastructure, personnel, training, security technologies used, storage of information and data on different sources, and so on and so on. So it has like different topics and fields to cover. Do you have some recommendation, some template, go through list for any company, to just sit and go through the list to find out all these, topics and points you have to set up in the company?
Yeah, there is, for example, OWASP rules from technical side. So also I can share after in our Discord channel.
All right.
So there is a list from technical side, what we have to do, But from, let's say, what I wanted to touch today is that the technical side is not so much important when the employees and ourselves in the company. So we need to fix those things, and policies, procedures is the things how we can fix that. So yeah, we need to understand that the data breach is actually 95 times happens because of a human error. That is and only 5 times from technical side, But
all right. So in a company, we have to have policies, and those policies should be not just a formal thing, but everybody has to know what is it there and what does it stand for. Yes, and what the responsibilities everybody has in the company. Exactly. And you mentioned also, and guys, please drop your questions. We are more than happy to answer it. You mentioned also that damage, cybersecurity incident damage can be like covered in 3 main pillars: reputation, data breach, and business interruption. And it was interesting that you mentioned reputation. It's like 20% of on the impact scale. Oh, why is it so low a number in general?
I take it, for example, reputation as one example. Just for example, when your website is hacked, and your customers see that you are not performing good in cybersecurity, yes, and that can impact your reputation. So, so definitely that won't kill your business. And for example, the data breach, why it's so important? Because the data breach touch all the points. It will impact your reputation. It will interrupt your business, and you can get a fines. And actually, the data breach is the thing what can kill your business. Yes. Of course, reputation things. For example, when it could happen that you will fail so much that reputation even kill also your business. But today I just wanted to take some examples from the site. For example, when your website is hacked, when you don't have a personal data breaches. So yeah.
Okay, actually, we had the one big data breach example here in Lithuania with Zity, and they're still running, but damage was really great. Actually, I was on that list with leaked data, and I still get calls from different parts of the world. So it's a huge problem. And one more question in regard to biometric check and face recognition, what you're into. I saw on the internet this meme, police officer checking a driver, and the butterfly is sitting in a driver's seat, and on the license, police officer notices a picture of caterpillar. So the same metamorphosis can happen to human beings in 3 or 5 years time after the picture is made. So how do you check such cases? Is it possible to check, the same person in different time periods?
Yeah, I think Romualdus, you touched very, very good points. Actually, I know real stories, and it will not probably not happen in a few years. Even it's happening right now. Even in Lithuania, as you know, there is people who are driving with another people driving license, and once the police stop, even we're completely different police just look to the driving license. We check only if a driving license is not expired, it has a holograms, and give it away. We don't check that there is different person in the car, So so we had some projects. We already had submitted that for the police department and for the custom department. So it's very, very simple. The policeman came to the car, asked for driving license, take a photo of a driving license, take a photo of the person who are sitting in the car, and all the magic is possible to do. So we can match if a person is the same on the driving license and in the car, and check all the information. Is this person is on the wanted list? If on the watch list or other things. So such process is done, in the seconds. And I believe we will have that in the future because there is possibility not to store any data, biometric data, in the police servers or something there, so we don't impact any privacy of persons. So I think that will be the future.
All right. And we have a question and comment from Lina. Really cool talk. Thanks. And she asks, Android or iOS? What is your go?
iOS.
Okay, thanks. So thank you very much for your presentation and answers to the questions. And before they move to Discord, just short announcement. If you have any topic you want us to cover in TechZity Radar in the future, just let us know by any means of communication, Discord, LinkedIn, Facebook, email. And see you next time in the biggest Lithuanian startup event series, Startup Fair 2021 Recharge. Startup Fair will be held next month on the 3rd and 4th of June. See you there pitching your ideas, finding like-minded peers, attracting investment, and networking. For now, take care and bye-bye.
Bye.